The Young and the Restless, spoilers for Wednesday, November 19th, 2025, have Nikki giving Claire a history lesson, Audra plotting her next move, and Lily commiserating with Holden. Claire grew up outside of the Newman family thanks to her Aunt Jordan, who poisoned her niece's mind against them. A lot of things happened in between Claire being whisked away from the hospital as an infant and when she was reunited with her family decades later. That's a lot of storylines to miss. Nikki and Victor split up and got back together a few times. Claire's niece Abby was born, and so many other things happened. On Wednesday's show, watch for Nikki to give Claire a history lesson. How much history will Nikki give her granddaughter? It could take up several episodes. Audra could use a break. She lost funding for Vibrante from Victor after failing to break up Kyle and Claire. Now, Sally had to put a pin in terms of hiring Audra at Abbott Communications because of Jill. Audra traded barbs with Claire at Crimson Lights. At times, Claire's remark definitely made an impact on Audra. On Wednesday's show, watch for Audra to plot her next move. Is she going to make a play for Kyle to get under Claire's skin? Or will she try to improve her position in the business world? Perhaps Kane needs a new ally since Phyllis betrayed him by giving Victor the AI software? Lily is at a crossroads. She found herself defending Kane to Adam and Chelsea recently. She knows on one hand that Kane didn't handle his big gala in Nice correctly, and he also botched the whole AI situation. On Wednesday's show, watch for Lily to commiserate with Holden. He knows about loss, and the two are bonded over the fact that his pal and her new beau, Damien, died last summer. The Young and the Restless spoilers for the week of November 24-28 indicate that Matt Clark, aka Mitch Bacall, will get backed into a corner while Claire Newman makes a mess. The show's Thanksgiving Day schedule has also been revealed, so let's talk about what's in store. For starters, Y&R will deliver the second part of a 2-episode wedding event. After Christine Blair and Danny Romalotti's marriage ceremony begins on November 21st, it'll continue on November 24th, with plenty more surprises at the nuptials. There'll be many guests cheering the happy couple on, including Nina Webster, Moss, Gina Roma, Amy Lewis, and more. Michael Baldwin will serve as the officiant for Danny and Christine's big day, which definitely won't be free of drama. Phyllis Summers and Kane Ashby will stir up some issues after crashing the bash, but Christine and Danny's love will prevail. Danny and Christine's wedding will indeed be completed, so there's no need to worry about these two when it comes to the blissful future they deserve. We should also mention that Y&R will be airing a repeat on Thursday, November 27th. The show won't be new on Thanksgiving, but you can still tune in for a special encore of Christine and Danny's first wedding back in 1990. As for the current action, Matt Clark, aka Mitch, will get backed into a corner thanks to Nick Newman and Sharon Newman soon, but he won't let that keep him down for long. Once Noah Newman and Sienna Bacall wiggle out of Matt's clutches, they're eventually going to join Sharon and Nick in Genoa City. Although Nick and Sharon will think they've got the upper hand on Matt after a big climax that's coming up, Matt will follow the whole gang back to GC to unleash more of his fury. In the meantime, let's talk about Claire, since she'll presumably move forward with her plan to give Billy Abbott and Sally Spectra updates on Audra Charles's Los Angeles history. Claire will apparently meet with Sally and Billy to discuss how Audra stole that cashier's check for $500,000 and changed her name so the duped guy couldn't track her down. Although Billy may think this is more proof that Audra can't be trusted and isn't the right fit for Abbott Communications, Sally may be a bit more torn. Since Sally has made past mistakes of her own, she may think Audra deserves a clean slate. Sally is hoping she can ultimately convince Jill Abbott that Audra will be an asset for the company rather than a liability. If Jill hears about Claire's Audra dirt, that could make it even tougher for Sally to get her on board. As for Audra, she'll end up furious when she inevitably finds out Claire's trying to make trouble for her. The Young and the Restless spoilers hint that Audra could retaliate against Claire in a big way, so stay tuned for any alarming news to come. The Young and the Restless spoilers hint that Nick Newman and Detective Annie Stewart may team up, so they could work together to expose dirty Detective Burrow and find Matt Clark, aka Mitch Bacall's hostages. Nick and Sharon Newman were suspicious of Detective Burrow from the very beginning, but now they're more concerned than ever about him secretly working for Matt. Sharon and Nick are eager to find a detective who isn't being paid to do Matt's dirty work, so that may be where Detective Annie Stewart comes in. Detective Stewart will join this Y&R storyline starting November 20th, which is also when Nick will go on the hunt for some intel. Unlike Detective Burrow, it sounds like Detective Stewart will be the one to provide some genuine police help. Nick may take his concerns about Burrow to Stewart and get confirmation that he's up to no good. Perhaps Detective Burrow is already on Detective Stewart's radar when it comes to shady activities. Whatever the case, Nick may join forces with Stewart on a plan to back Burrow into a corner and put a stop to his side hustle working for Matt. Of course, Burrow may be the only one besides Matt who knows where Noah Newman and Sienna Bacall are, so Stewart and Nick may have to be careful here. However, there's the potential for Burrow to surrender information if he's offered a deal and a chance to save himself. Burrow might be the one to give up Sienna and Noah's captivity location in the end. Noah and Sienna will indeed find themselves stuck somewhere thanks to Matt's plot as well as Burrow's cooperation. Sienna and Noah might try to find an exit route on their own, but there's no guarantee they'll be able to flee without some assistance. Nick and Detective Stewart could work together on Noah and Sienna's rescue, especially if Burrow cracks under the pressure and supplies info that leads to their location. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Detective Stewart may become a pivotal part of the story and uncover important news related to the case, so stick with us for updates on her part in all this. The Young and the Restless spoilers and updates suggest that Lily Winters might share a kiss with Holden Novak as troubled hearts clash. Will Kane Ashby find himself enraged by this unexpected turn of events? Recently, Lily caught Phyllis Summers stealing a kiss from Kane, but he dismissed it as just another one of Phyllis's tricks. Kane pretended to be strategizing with Phyllis and made another attempt to reunite with Lily, but ultimately, Lily pushed him too far. After enduring numerous rejections from Lily, Kane came to the conclusion that he would never be enough for her and shifted his focus entirely to Phyllis instead. The week of November 17th to 24th is set to heat things up between Phyllis and Kane. It appears that Kane and Phyllis are on the verge of taking their relationship to the next level, moving beyond just business partners and friends. Nonetheless, Lily will begin to reconsider her habit of constantly pushing Kane away. Once she finally acknowledges that Kane has genuinely been making an effort to mend their relationship, she might realize that she has been too quick to judge him. Naturally, any developments in Kane and Phyllis's intimate life could unsettle Lily if she hears about them. This might lead Lily to reevaluate her thoughts and question Kane's true emotions, especially if he could move on to Phyllis so easily. Kane transitioned from fighting passionately for a reunion with Lily to yielding to Phyllis on the very same night, which could certainly give Lily reason to pause. Holden feels used and rejected by Claire Newman. Claire enjoyed her time with Holden in Los Angeles, but pulled back after their night together, and is news about Audra Charles. When Claire shows she's not interested in a romance with Holden and may not want to sleep with him again, he'll struggle with strong feelings alongside Lily. In Y&R's episode on November 19th, it's clear why Lily and Holden feel a deep connection. They will bond, possibly over drinks and sharing their feelings. With how quickly Kane got close to Phyllis, will Lily do the same with Holden? We can easily imagine Lily kissing Holden passionately, just as Kane walks in to see it and gets furious. On the Tuesday, a November 18th, episode of The Young and the Restless, Nick told Victor that Matt Clark is alive, and targeting Noah, Kane, and Phyllis slept together, and Lily confronted Victor about Kane's stolen AI program. Back in Los Angeles, Nick informed Victor that Noah had checked himself out of the hospital and ordered the guard to leave his post. He explained how Noah and Sienna were involved in an affair, and Nick urged him to continue digging into her past. Nick hadn't been able to reach Noah or Sienna, so he worried that Noah was in danger. Victor promised to have Michael keep searching for answers. Nick understood that Noah had built a life for himself, but he had many secrets. They were upset by Noah's cheating, and while that was serious in its own right, there were far more important issues on the horizon. To Victor's bewilderment, Nick revealed that Matt Clark was back. His father asked for clarification, and Nick explained how Matt was behind Noah's accident. Matt was bent on revenge, and Noah served as the perfect leverage. Neither understood how Matt survived his supposed death, and the danger level of Noah sleeping with Matt's wife drastically increased with the truth exposed. Nick walked him through how Noah kicked him and Sharon out of his hospital room after learning about Matt. Since then, they've been unable to make contact with Noah. However, Nick believed that Detective Burrow was on Matt's payroll. Victor vowed that Matt would either end up dead or in prison, but Nick wanted him dead, and he needed to see it for himself. Nikki spotted Lily at Society, and they were glad to see each other. She asked if Victor would be joining her, and Nikki wondered whether that was a good thing or a bad thing. They briefly discussed Noah's accident, and Lily wished him a speedy recovery. Lily got a call from her daughter and gave her the rundown on her latest conversation with Kane. Lily asked Maddie to trust her judgment, and she insisted that Kane was making strides toward returning to his former self. Maddie refused to hear Lily out, and she reminded her daughter that she missed her father. She hoped that she had enough time to sit with the situation so that she could find a path toward forgiveness. Lily reminded Maddie that she had issues with Neil in the past as well, so she understood the father-daughter tension. The conversation ended on a tense note, and Lily reflected on a conversation with Kane. She wanted him to prove that his words weren't just lip service, and that he was ready to prove it. Nikki made her way to her own table and was joined by Jack. She couldn't take her eyes off Lily, and she got the impression that Lily was back on her ex-husband's good side. Jack was disappointed that Kane might have found a way to drag Lily back into his clutches. He made a dig about Victor, saying that things were great until he woke up every day, and then he remembered that the mustache was alive and that Nikki was married to him. Nikki quipped, "How does Diane feel about that? That Victor is your first thought, and I'm your second." Jack realized he walked directly into that trap, but Nikki knew he'd take it in stride. The topic shifted to Victor's ruthlessness, and he asked how she'd react if he targeted people she cared about. Jack was heartbroken that Nikki would sit idly while he ravaged the companies of everyone else in town. Nikki assured Jack she wouldn't spill any of Victor's secrets, but he asserted that he didn't want anything from her. Nikki wondered if Diane had slipped yet and showed off her true colors. She also took responsibility for Victor's newfound vendetta against Jack, due to everything reigniting when he helped her get sober. As nice as Nikki's sentiment was, nothing and nobody was going to prevent Victor from unleashing the program on Jabot. Jack couldn't believe that Victor was focused on attacking companies when their family was dealing with Noah's crisis. Nikki wanted peace for everyone, but Jack knew a plan of attack was in the works. He warned her to have Victor prepared for his reintegration. Lily dropped by the Newman Ranch and outright asked Victor if he swiped Kane's AI program. He joked about being at the top of everyone's suspect list. She thought Kane losing the program was a wake-up call for him because it afforded him the chance to leave his Aristotle Dumas persona behind. Lily expressed fear that Victor would use the program against Winters, which offended him. He told her she had nothing to worry about, but Jabot wouldn't be so lucky. Before the conversation continued, Adam arrived at the ranch, so Lily promptly exited. Victor divulged the details of Matt Clark to Adam and asked him to compile all of Matt's former crimes so he could go after Matt himself. Adam asked if Nick needed backup in Los Angeles, and Victor was pleased to hear that he was willing to assist his brother. Seeing Adam put himself in potential harm's way to help Nick warmed his heart. However, Victor told Adam to stay put until they heard more from Nick. Adam also provided an update on Abbott Communications, finally uncovering the mystery investor's name as Jill Abbott. Adam wondered whether Victor could persuade Jill to cut the company's funding, so he could break the news to Billy at the launch party. Once he had Billy distracted, it was time to make a move on Jabot. Kane and Phyllis continued their connection in her suite, and they couldn't contain the passion between them. After their samba in the sheets, Kane realized that Phyllis always felt that they'd end up in bed together. She didn't think pretending to be just friends would last long. The topic shifted to Phyllis's behavior when she gets angry, and she admitted she goes scorched earth when she's wronged. She promised that he was in the clear from her warpath, and he asked what would happen next between them. Phyllis said the next phase of their relationship was up to Kane. He recalled the pair never crossing paths in a significant way when he previously lived in Genoa City. Neither were the same people they were all of those years ago. And Phyllis wanted to live in the present. Kane suggested they move their conversation to the shower. And he told her he'd get room service while she set up the water festivities. Before she left for the shower, they kissed a bit more. Once Phyllis was safely out of the room, Kane searched for her computer, presumably looking for evidence that she had stolen his program. He was nervous that the computer would lock him out before he could gain access. Unfortunately for Kane, she caught him in the act because it took him so long to get in. She listened in as he tried to uncover the password, but instead of calling him out, she slipped back into the shower and asked him to join. Lily returned to the GCAC, and before leaving, she was seemingly ready to give Kane another chance after thinking carefully about it. Instead, she encountered Kane and a barely dressed Phyllis at the stairs, clearly aware of what had just occurred between the two. Nick reunited with Sharon at the hotel and got her up to speed about his conversation with Victor. Nobody would take their concerns about Matt being behind Noah's crash seriously. Nick knew that no matter what, Noah and Sienna were together somewhere. It was either of their own initiative or Matt caught on to the affair, and he was exacting his revenge. Nick leaned toward the more heartbreaking option, and he was determined to track down Detective Burrow to get some answers. Faith texted for an update on Noah, and Sharon had no idea how much information they should share with the family. Nick promised that Victor would do whatever he could, but he didn't want to involve anyone else yet. Burrow returned Nick's correspondence and asked him to look into Noah's current whereabouts. Nick set up a meeting with Burrow, and although Sharon was prepared to tag along, he urged her to stay put. The insinuation that Sharon needed protection didn't sit well with her. Burrow asked Nick to come alone, which Sharon believed to be a trap. He didn't think Burrow would do anything criminal to him because of his status as a law enforcement officer. Nick pledged to keep Sharon informed about the situation. He told Sharon that Burrow should be more worried about him, not the other way around. The Young and the Restless, spoilers for the next 3 weeks, November 17th to December 5th, reveal that Sharon Newman and Nick Newman have their hands full when Matt Clark, aka Mitch Bacall, comes to Genoa City, Wisconsin. Let's get started on the amazing dish we have for you all the way into December. Y&R fans? During the week of November 17 to 21 in Schwein, Victor Newman teams with Nick to take down sleazy threat Matt. They have no time to waste as bold Matt pops up unannounced and unwelcome at Sharon's LA hotel room. Despite her shock, the brazen beauty holds her own and lets the monster know that she is not afraid of him. Meanwhile, Noah Newman and Sienna Bacall are in a tough spot due to Matt and enigmatic Detective Burrow. We know that a second detective, Annie Stewart, gets involved in this mysterious case. But whose side is she on? Elsewhere, things in Genoa City get hot and heavy as Kane Ashby and Phyllis Summers get down to, business. Meanwhile, oblivious and day-late Lily Winters considers her chances with Choo Choo Kane. But it seems her reunion hopes are dashed as she and thirsty Holden Novak share a pity party. We know that Holden is smarting from the sting of Claire Newman's rejection. Will he take comfort in Lily's arms? Christine Blair and Danny Romalotti count down the clock until their big wedding day, November 21st. We can tell you that the enchanting 2-part ceremony continues on November 24th, so we suspect plenty of warm times as well as challenges as long as phony Phyllis is in town. During the week of November 24-28th, fans get a treat when a couple of blasts from the past arrive to attend the wedding. How long has it been since we've seen Nina Webster and Gina Roma? Too long. Spoiler alert. Cricket and Danny do marry, and this time we predict it's for keeps. Meanwhile, speaking of couples, Daniel Romalotti Jr. and Tessa Porter perform at the nuptials. Will they be able to keep their eyes off each other? Maybe the better question is, will they be able to keep their clothes on after the wedding reception? Finally, Sharon, Nick, and Noah return home to Genoa City the week of December 5. But they are not alone. Sienna tags along, and we presume it's to keep her hand in Noah's life. Just when Nick and Sharon think they're done with Ratty Matty, the CAD comes to GC ready for vengeance. Red Hot, the Young, and the Restless, spoilers, hint that Matt proves to be a serious, sinister force to be reckoned with. Be sure to catch up on everything happening with the Young and the Restless right now. The Young and the Restless spoilers are in for Wednesday, November 19th, 2025. In tomorrow's episode, fans can expect Nikki Newman to explain things. Lily Winters and Holden Novak connect. Plus, Audra Charles plots her next move. Keep reading, and let's talk about what is coming up in the CBS soap opera. Let's start off with Nikki, who will give Claire Grace Newman a history lesson. This could be about the war between Victor Newman and Jack Abbott. However, Claire was already told that story a while back. So, it could be about Matt Clark, aka Mitch Bacall's past. With Claire's history, I wonder if she could use what she learned from Aunt Jordan to take down Mitch. Claire was pretty emotional in Noah Newman's hotel room despite never having met him before. Speaking of Claire, she has certainly gotten under Audra's skin since being back in Genoa City. The blonde made a few comments which really frustrated Audra. Adding to the brunette's frustration is that Holden started telling Claire the story of how they met all those years ago. Of course, Holden left out a few key details and did give Audra a warning. Expect Audra to do some plotting against Claire. The Young and the Restless. Spoilers for tomorrow's episode reveal that Lily will be down in the dumps after spotting Kane Ashby and Phyllis Summers coming downstairs all giggly. Meanwhile, Holden has his own dashed hopes thanks to Claire's rejection. Lily and Holden will commiserate together. However, I wonder if they could also get tangled up in a strange romance. Seeing Kane come downstairs with Phyllis might remind Holden how alone he is. That could also have Holden and Lily changing their dynamic a bit. Honestly, it's refreshing to see new pair-ups rather than reunions. While Phyllis stole the AI program from Kane, he suspects she's responsible. However, we know that Phyllis calmly watched Kane try to hack into her laptop. Phyllis doesn't have the program anymore, that's for sure. Kane will eventually find out that Phyllis was the one who did it, though. It seems like Phyllis and Kane are both playing games with each other. However, I wonder if their double manipulations could lead to real feelings. Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to check back with Celebrating the Soaps for all the latest Young and the Restless spoilers, news, rumors, comings and goings, and updates.